Technology has a mind of its own. All right. Get back over here. Where was I? That's not what I wanted. Cancel. Okay, Raya. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. Wonderful. Here we go. There's the link. And we'll put this in the chat. There you go. All right. Yay. Okay. So hopefully Mr. McAdoo makes it. He should. Okay, we texted them. All right, welcome to another First Sunday with the National Black Poet Laureate Society. I am your host and director. My name is Raya Carmen, and I am Poet Laureate Emerita of Knoxville, Tennessee. So I had the wonderful pleasure of serving as Poet Laureate for 3 years, and now I just get to hang out with the cool Poet Laureates of the country. So um, today with me, I have the wonderful Clavette Roberts, Poet Laureate of Kinston, North Carolina. Make sure I say it correctly. And also on the call, I've got Mr. Samuel Rain. He is Poet Laureate. Samuel, I don't even know if you can hear me, because you have to remind me where you're at. But Samuel's here. He is trying to contact somebody for me in Las Vegas right now. So we are networking. That's what we do. That's what we love to do. You can watch this now, or you can tune in later and watch our conversation. But we are going to share some poetry. We're going to share a little bit of our lives and the great things that we are doing as Poet Laureate all over the country. Uh-oh. I'm doing my little post. Here we go. Here we go. Make sure that everybody knows. All right. Well, welcome, Clavette. I'm so glad I have the opportunity to meet you. How far is Kinston from Knoxville? Do you know?
Maybe I've been in Knoxville before. Maybe about 9 hours or so.
Oh, that's far. Okay, so you must
Yeah.
be. Are you on the other side of Durham?
Yes, I'm further out. I'm East Coast. I'm by the beach.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, that's a
I'm
nice
about
place to be.
50.
Like close to Hilton Head.
Yeah. No. I'm near Atlantic Beach, Moorhead City, Atlantic Beach. I'm like 50
Oh,
minutes
okay.
away.
All right. Well, we
Yeah.
always go to Hilton Head. It takes us 8 hours to get there. So
I've never been there before. I want to go one day.
it's beautiful. But I'm sure you live on the beach too. So, it's probably beautiful up there too. By
Uh,
Myrtle.
not completely yet, but yeah. I want to go. I do want to go to Wilmington. Like, I wouldn't mind living there. That's
Ah,
closer to the beach.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's like 10 minutes away.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's gonna be you and I until Mr. Rain decides to come back to us. Um, I thought that we were gonna be joined by
Okay.
the one and only LaRon McAdoo, but I'm gonna guess that something may have come up because he did not give me any type of inkling that he wasn't going to be here. So, anyways, tell me, when did you start your term as poet laureate?
All right. So during the pandemic.
Oh wow,
So
so
March. Yes.
it's been a while. Okay,
I'm
cool.
still. Yes. So I became poet laureate. I didn't know I was poet laureate in 2019. Because of different things that were going on with, yeah, because of the pandemic. but I got called to the city council meeting. I was told they were going to do something for me. I didn't know what they were going to do. And I get there and I am presented with a, as the poet laureate with a proclamation as poet laureate of City of Kinston, first ever poet laureate. And also they gave me my own proclamation. So I'm actually have my own day called Clavette China Roberts Day, March 28th of every year, for all that I do
Yes.
nationally and internationally. I got recognized by the White House twice for what I do for the, nationally, internationally, and locally and statewide. So I'm grateful for all that I do because I do a lot of different things, and poetry is one of the things that I do. But I'm also actress, poet, radio show host, motivational speaker, life coach, substance abuse counselor, depression counselor.
Oh,
Life, yeah,
wow.
I do a lot.
Okay, so tell me just a little bit about like how does poetry play into just, your day-to-day life?
To me, art is freeing. It's
Mm,
freeing for me. It's my freedom to speak, to say what I want to say, to
mhm,
get whatever it is I need to get off my chest. Um, and also, I feel like I utilize art healing components.
mhm.
So I feel like art heals, in a lot of different ways. So I
Okay.
value that. Hmm.
Awesome. Wow.
And the ability to create, you know, I
Yeah, I
do.
just like at this point just want to pick your brain about like everything that you just said because I just think that that's absolutely awesome. I always think like I do a lot as well. Um
Uh-huh.
and I do, some motivational speaking and poetry, and I'm a math teacher. So I teach math teachers how to be
Awesome.
great math teachers, and um I work with middle schoolers about careers as data artist and all kinds of things like that. And then I'm a wife and mom, and those are just
Oh,
some more hats to wear, right? Samuel,
oh
thank you
yeah.
for coming back. Hey,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I was just on with Solid Truth, and she said that. Were you in a group chat with them?
yes,
Okay, so she's gonna go into it, and she's gonna send some information out.
yay! Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So about open mics, she said because they did have one, and they moved to a different day. So you say you're leaving on Wednesday, right?
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
I'm leaving
so
on Thursday.
on Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay, so so they do have an event. I think it's probably Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So you might be able to do something all those days. So Solid's going to reach out to you in a group chat and give you that information, the links and everything that you need to hit on.
That is so awesome. Thank you so much. That means the world to me.
Absolutely.
I
And
love
what
it.
city are you in?
I am currently in Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
Okay, Tennessee. Okay.
Yeah, coming out west. I've never been to Vegas before, so it's a first
It's
time for
hot.
everything.
It's going to be hot.
It's gonna be hot. Alrighty, so well, okay, Samuel, remind me what city that you are poet laureate of.
Well, I live in Bakersfield, but I'm Port Laureate of Kern County, which is where the city is.
Okay,
So they
Kern.
only have Kern, yes,
Okay,
Kern. So they only have one Port Laureate, and of course, this me. I'm the third Port Laureate that they've had, and so and they want a lot of things. So I'm here to help them accomplish those goals because they said they want artists to come to town. So and I told them, well, you need money to bring artists to town. So
you do.
and I want them to, and I clearly gave them what I told them what my pay scale was, and I said this is what I would like to pay those artists who come to town. If they're flying here, they got to fly into LAX, and then they got to drive 100 miles to get here.
Oh wow. Okay.
Because it's not. I mean, they have an airport here, but you won't get a direct flight, so you don't want to fly in there.
Right.
You may get multiple stops trying to get here, and we don't do that. We like to take off once and land, and then we're there. You
It
know.
would be nice. I know that tomorrow I actually have a layover in Chicago, so
Oh yeah, so we're going to have our first poetry fest in 2025.
wonderful.
I've contacted the people that I want to come and perform. I'm inviting everyone who wants to come. There are other things that we're going to be doing, like if an artist travels here, but they're not the feature artist. If they perform on the stage, I still want them to be compensated something just for coming. just a
Yeah.
gift from the art council. There are things that I'll be setting up. Well, I'm in the stage of setting up my own 501,
Okay.
but they have one already, so we're going to use that to build for this first year. The next
Okay.
year after that, I could take it over, and then I'm like, I was like, I've been ready to retire. Well, I am retired, so it's not like I go out and work a regular job. This is what I've been doing for the last, wow, a very long time. Yeah, no, I actually.
It's sobering sometimes when we realize how long we have been in the work, right?
Yeah, I mean, I stopped working in 2008 just to do this.
Oh
So
wow, that's a blessing.
this is all I've been doing since 2008, and it didn't start paying off until 2014. So,
Wow.
so that was, and then so for the last 10 years, it's been amazing because in the last 10 years, I've published 22 books.
Yeah, you told me like you are moving. I gotta step my game up. I'm only
Yeah,
on six.
so I've been on a mission. And so, just to make things happen, and then you meet good people, and then being on here when I was invited to come here, I said, "Oh, this is amazing," because I know I'm not the only one. And then to know poor laureates that I have met when I went to Charlotte, I got a chance to see the poor laureate of North Carolina, Jackie Shelton Green.
Yes, Jackie.
Yeah, and so I speak to her as often as possible, and she's been giving me the stuff I need to know. Let these people know I'm not here to play. I'm the real deal. You know.
Yes. So okay, so now that I have both of you here, I do want to ask like what because from West Coast to East Coast, what type of um let's see, barriers or issues have you seen or had to battle while being a poet laureate?
Hmm.
Mm. At this time, I haven't had any problems or barriers right now because I've had my city backing me.
Hmm.
What I do as a poet laureate. I will. Well, no, I will say this: some barriers with what Samuel just mentioned, with people not wanting to pay you.
Hmm.
Pay. They want you to come and facilitate or perform or do a reading, but they don't want to pay you, and they just want to give you exposure. And they
Right.
say, "Oh, I'm giving you exposure," but we're already poet laureates. We are
Mhm.
already doing the job. And to say that, so I would say that has been a big barrier. Now, as far as support, that hasn't been a big barrier. And at first, it was because my I was getting more support from when I was performing. Like I've been on tour 15 years, and I was getting more support from people when I went outside of my state. Kind of like
Mm.
the saying, "Prophet doesn't get any love in his own hometown." So that's what was happening. People found out about me when I went to different cities and different towns and different states, and they heard about me on the radio. They heard about me, the White House recognizing me for different things that I do. Um, and then all of a sudden, I got the call, like I mentioned to you before, to come, even though like the mayor comes to my shows and I
Wow.
grew up with him, know him. He supports the arts, but and I even asked. I said, "Wow, I'm just asking because I've had poets ask me, well, when is your term up?" And I asked the mayor. I said, "So when does my poet laureate term end?" He said, "When my term ends." So he's still
Okay.
the mayor. So I'm still the poet laureate, and I'm actually the first ever and only. Yeah. So
So when
God
he's
is good.
done,
That's
yeah. So when
nice.
he's done, the next mayor will choose the next poet laureate. Is that how that works for y'all?
I don't know how they'll do it. I'm not for sure because this is the first time they've ever done this, and I was
Mm,
chosen by
okay.
the city. So,
Okay. Okay. What
but
about you,
that's what he told
Samuel?
me as far as like the term. Yeah.
Well, for me, just that there were two previous poet laureates.
Hmm.
One gentleman, I know him because I've gone to some of the open mics. He wasn't a poet, but they chose him because he was there, and he's 80, and so he wasn't getting out doing anything to build poetry in the city because
Hmm.
he was an introvert. This is what they told me. So the second person that was poet laureate was a college professor, and of course they look at some poets different because if you didn't have the academics behind your poetry, then they don't recognize you. I'm here to change that for them because I've been
Mm-hmm.
writing for a very long time. I've studied, and my thing is that I don't want to write in any form. I did a workshop about a month ago, and then they asked me, "What style are you writing in?" I'm like, "My own," because I'm not an imitator of anybody else. So I won't write in any forms. They say, "Oh, you should challenge yourself." I do every time I take to the pen and paper. I
Mm-hmm.
challenge myself to write
Love
something.
it.
So uh, the support that I get, from the art council, the person that runs it, she said, "Samuel, that little money we paid you in the beginning, you're gonna make way more than that." So I'm waiting to make way more than what they initially gave me. Now the person I'm working with is the one who said I should start my own 501, but
Yeah.
I told them, I showed them my pay. They asked for my pay scale.
Mm-hmm.
So I called my friends to ask what the pay scale is.
Mm-hmm.
They were to give me all kind of numbers. She said, "But people don't want to pay." I'm like, "Well, they're going to pay this poet laureate because I put in the work. I make things happen."
That's right.
I've shown them. Even they were doing a Zoom show here, and nobody was coming. I invited friends from all over the world to come to their Zoom show, and they were amazed. They said, "You know all these people?" I'm like, "Yeah, because I'm a poet, and we know people from
Yeah.
everywhere." So I had people coming from the Philippines, Australia, England. I said some
Mm.
people can't come because the time zone is whacked, because it's be 4 o'clock in the morning for them. They're not getting up. But
Right.
and then so they've changed the times that they were coming on so that I can invite people on from different countries.
That's good stuff.
So and I can bring the poets here. Now, the head person, she's gonna get me what I want, you know. And I basically told them I should be working for the art council myself, not just as a poet laureate. I need to be on staff because I can make stuff happen. You guys are way too
Yes.
slow. I'm on a mission, and my mission, and being poet laureate in a city where there's not a lot of poetry, and I'm a poet. I lived here before. That was one thing. I lived here for 5 years and moved because it was no poetry here. And
Mm.
and then I said I'm gonna have to move back to LA, and I did. 2009, I moved back to LA, and I got and then I put myself on social media so people would know who I was. They said, "Why are you here?" I said, "I want people to know who I am." They said, "You keep spitting like that, they gonna know who you are." And that's exactly what happened. I got my first feature at the Norican Poets Cafe in 2014, and after that, it
Um,
was no looking back. I'm not looking back.
yeah.
Uh, but it's hard. It was hard to get into places because people didn't know me. Now they know. It's like I'll sign my name, Samuel Rain, and they'll say, "I know you," and I say, "Yeah, Samuel Rain." They said, "No, you have another name," and they're trying to figure it out. And then it has to be my stage name, which is Complicated Passions. And then they recognize who I am. So, but I love traveling. Every year I'm out. I set up my own schedule. I started last year just to set up to get a feature at Busboys and Poets. They don't pay a lot, but I'm gonna be in the city. I'm also gonna be featuring at the Langston Hughes House and the Norican Poets Cafe in November.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Like,
Well, I would love to hear some poems. So, Clavette, would you kick it off for us with a wonderful poem?
sure. Um, this one is called Get to Know Me. He who is without sin cast the first stone. So don't judge me by the way I walk. My movements aren't perpetrated by a fraud. For I have been through the fire and back, extinguished flames that weren't meant for me to put out, have had holes dug for me. Reminder to the digger, keep in mind when you dig one, dig two, because they're both for you. I have been through storms you wouldn't believe, experienced chapters in my life you couldn't conceive. A category 6, a Hurricane Katrina, or your negative thoughts ain't got nothing on me. But your only notion of me is the image that you perceive. That false imperfection is not who I'm destined to be. Fought all trials and tribulations intended to conquer my sanity. Fought wars of flesh. I ain't got time for this mess. Just when they assumed they had me all figured out, they're sadly mistaken. No time to be Hasidity, goody goody, or wannabe. For I'm a believer, a go getter, a warrior, an everyday hustler. Struggling every day, whether it's mentally, physically, spiritually, or emotionally to make those ends meet. I have my crosses to bear, lessons to learn and bridges to burn, hurdles to leap and dreams to reach. I refuse to let views hinder who I'm destined to be, for my walk is in stride, and I can't do anything without God by my side. Thank you.
So tell me, do you consider yourself a poet or a spoken word artist?
Combination,
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because I write off styles.
great.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I'm also an author.
Excellent.
Yes.
Oh yes,
Awesome. Yeah, so that was a great question, Samuel, because so often they want to put black and brown poets into a category and
exactly.
say that you are a page poet or you're just a spoken word artist. Um, but everybody writes.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
that's the thing that I always say, like, yes, okay, so we can both write a poem,
Hmm.
but when I read my poem, because of who I am and the energy that comes with me, I'm gonna make that poem come alive,
Yes,
just by reading it. Um,
Yes.
but we both wrote a poem. We both wrote a
that's
great
right.
poem, right? It's just you might not be able to do what I do. So, yes.
Okay.
And I've
So
been boxed. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, 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 no. Please continue.
I was gonna say I've been boxed in by different people who,
Mm.
you have your critics. People will tell you, "Oh, yeah, I heard some." I mean, I never forget when I first my demo first came out. My first demo came out for my album, and I was told by a good friend of mine that I thought was a friend, "Oh, China, you sound real good. You're a good studio poet." But God, I just want to say, but God,
What
right?
is
You see,
it?
so I sound good in the studio. So then I was told, "Oh
Poet.
yeah,
I
she's a
never
cute
heard
poet."
that term before.
Oh yeah, I've been called some things, but you know what? That's why I said, but God. Um,
Yeah.
but the funny thing about that is, I took that and I ran with it because I said, you know
Hmm.
what? I am who God says I am. I'm not who you think I am, and I'll show
That's
you.
it.
And what's happening is not only being recognized as poet laureate, um, spoken word artist, and all the different things that I do, but my poetry is touching lives, and I'm grateful for that. Even as a substance abuse counselor, I went and told my story through poetry. My
Oof.
story, the
Hmm.
taboo things that I've endured in my life and how I overcome it. Because I write about overcoming adversity as well. I wrote about all
Oh,
things,
yes.
love, passion, all those things. Anything about life that we talk about that are taboo conversations that we want to talk about amongst each other, I put it in poetry.
Oh, yes.
Give us a voice because we deserve to have a voice. So
Absolutely, sis.
Absolutely.
why I do
Yeah.
what I
Yes.
do, because we deserve to have a voice and to be heard. And I actually wrote a poem called "Just Want to Be Heard," and it's very short, but I put it in my very first book is called "Still Standing," and I put that in there because I remember being that shy. Now I recognize I'm an ambivert. I could be
A
introverted
what?
and ambivert. I'm a
That's a
combination of
thing?
yes.
Girl, you better
I'm
teach me. I'm a math teacher. I don't know
well,
all of
no,
those words. An
well, no,
ambivert.
no. An ambivert is a combination of an introvert and extrovert.
That's me. I ain't never known what it
Right.
was, though.
Yes.
Hmm.
So we're ambiverts. So we have a balance. It's a balance with it.
I
And
love it.
I said I want to write a poem about this. It reminds me of, you ever seen I think it's a Marvel movie, Venom.
Yes.
Okay, so when you want to be inside and you just want to just like be an introvert, and then the other side of you that wants to be out, the extrovert. I feel like that war, and I want to write a
Yes.
poem about that war because I realize if I stay in, I won't get a chance to
To touch
share my
these
gifts.
lives.
If I close myself in, I won't get a chance to share my gifts, and my gifts touch lives. They touch me. It touched me before it gets to you. So when I
Yeah.
say it comes out of my mouth, the only reason why I know how to memorize my poems is because a friend of mine told me, China, if you wrote it, it's in your DNA. So no matter what I write, most of the time I just know it.
Ooh. I
So
needed. I look. I needed that. You
oh
wrote
yeah,
it. It's in your DNA. That is a
yeah,
line for you.
I wrote it from
Thank
the
you.
heart. Yes, I wrote it
Ah,
from the heart. So
yes.
I realized, I was like, you know what? What pushed me to get outside of me being an introvert was it. Did it touch you? I had to check me at the door first. And I say yes. So if it touched me, it can touch somebody else. If I touch one, I've done my job.
That's it.
Right.
That's
Now,
good.
and so that's how I see it. And it has helped. Like my clients love it. And I started out at my job. I think I came as a speaker. I was just a speaker, and I did some poetry. And it went from the clientele was 50 clients. By the end of that year, we had 500 clients, and they came to hear me speak. And it's been growing exponentially. And so I
Yeah.
know it works. Art
Yeah.
heals.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes, it
and it
does.
and it frees
Feels
you.
every time, and it frees you.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Samuel, you got a poem for us?
Oh, absolutely. And before I get into this piece, when I decided to start writing poetry again in 2004, I put myself on a mission, and my mission was to have an audience read my poetry. So the audience I looked for were women because women buy stuff, men don't buy nothing. So that's why I decided to write love poems. And so for years, and then from 2004 up until 2015, that's all I wrote. But before that time, I used to write conscious pieces, but it was the anger part of me that was writing
Mm,
injustices and things like that. And it took me a while to get back into it. And when friend said, he says, don't let them put you in a box because they will, because you only do love poems. I said, yeah, but I could write the other stuff. I just don't want to write it. So in 2016, I wrote a book called Imagining Freedom, was my first book of conscious poems. And after that, I created the Dark Man Blues series, which is great. So and I have 4 books out on the Dark Man Blues series, and this is a new poem I wrote this morning from a something someone posted something on IG, and it was a bunch of doors with different names and stuff on them. So I wrote this piece and I called it Orientation. The windows to my soul, the doors I have been unable to open, how mankind sees itself with closed minds. Wisdom is by choice. Justice has not been good for us. The world today, an imaginary playground of whoever I think I am at any given time, man plays with paintbrushes made up in a system named I am better than you. Action speaks volume. How we see ourselves in color, the way we treat each other. My name is not him. Judge these words encoded in my DNA with caution. My surname is human. I can't be any other. And that's that poem.
I love it.
I love that surname is human.
Yes.
Yeah. My husband and I were actually right before I came to do this, he was telling me, he was like, the concept of race didn't come about until the 1500s. Before that, it was just race had to do with people who had the same characteristics. So like the human race, or you have a race of plants, or you're a certain race of animals. And I love that surname human. That took me back to that conversation that I had with him today. Ah, yes. All right. I am enjoying myself on this wonderful July day, and I am joined by Clavette Roberts and Samuel Rain, Dark Man Blues. Um, you said something on our last first Sunday that you attended, Samuel, about um, only releasing 50 copies of one book that you had written.
Yes.
And I wanted to pick your brain about that a little bit more. How did you come to the idea to only do 50 copies? And then what have you seen as the response to that?
That I sold 47 of those for $25 a copy, and only a book that has 68 pages in it.
Mm-hmm.
So what I saw with that was that I kind of like gave them an incentive to give me $25 for that book. And the whole deal was give me $50 and I'll give you these 3 books. But this book costs $25. So if you just want to buy this book, then it's $25. But if you buy 3 books, you can get 3 books for $50.
Okay.
Now, and it was the first three Dark Man Blues books. It was If It Were Me, The Other Side, and John Bowl. So those people who wanted to get the limited edition of John Bowl. Now John Bowl did go on Amazon, but it had cream color pages. The book that they got, the limited edition, had black pages,
Ah,
and
okay.
it
So there
had
was a limited
pictures.
edition.
So 47 people have a limited copy of Dark Man Blues John Bowl. Now, say I get famous and they have those books and no one else has them, then they're going to have a collector's item
Mm-hmm.
because now they have that book that no one else can ever get because I only printed 50 copies of it.
I love that.
Even though you could buy a copy of it on Amazon, it doesn't look the same. And like I said, it doesn't have black pages, it doesn't have pictures, and so it's going to be different. And then so what it cost me for those three books, personally, what I had to pay for them was that I have a book that's the book that's titled The Other Side has gray pages.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that book cost me $7, just almost $8 to buy my own copy of it. That book sells for $25 on Amazon. It's never going to change. It sells for $25, and then If It Were Me has white pages. So, and then my next book was going to be blue pages, but I decided not to do it, and that was An Interview with Love. So I just went on and put it out, and I added 40 more pages to that particular book. It has 147 pages or something like that. And so, but the reason that I got the idea from watching a movie. The guy goes into a bookstore to buy a book, and then the lady tells him that there are only 60 copies of this book. He said, "Well, how much is it?" And she said, $260,000. Okay, so when you write something, and clearly now there's another book that I'm tempted to put out. I uploaded it as an ebook, but I haven't released it yet. I'm thinking of making it also a limited edition. It's a part of the Foreplay series, which comes out this year, and it's called A Prelude to Passion.
Okay.
But I'm about to do an audio book of that Prelude to Passion because I actually wrote that book in 2016, and I'm like, when I went in and read it in it this year, I'm like, these poems are dope. I mean, somebody's gonna be in feelings. They're gonna hear me spitting this.
So you're
Baritone's
doing it
about
as
to
an
make it
audiobook.
happen. Hey, it's like,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. So that book is A Prelude to Passion is it is a beautifully written book. Because like I said, I was writing love poems, but in 2016, I actually wrote 7 books and haven't published any of those 7 books that I've written in 2016.
Wow.
I'm a writer at that time. When I started writing in 2007 up until 2018, I was writing every day.
Okay. Is
I
that
could
still your
write
process?
Yeah, that was I could write 7 to 10 poems a day every day, and my thing was not to be like anybody else. So they were saying, like some people say, oh, you could. They want to hear more. I did a workshop and I did this poem, and it's titled "Even When You Sleep." And I only had been using the ad lib. You heard me do the ad lib last time I was on. I said I took out my pen like she asked me. She said, "Write into me and make me nasty and make it nasty." That was an ad lib from that poem. And so when I read the whole poem to the audience, they wanted more, and I said there is more. But and then that's when they asked me what was my style, because I add poems to tell a story, and that's the
Ah.
spoken word part of what I do to entertain an audience. But if I'm reading to a bunch of learned poets, I'm just going to give them a poem that could have 25 words in it, like I want to flow through her like mountain rivers, leaving oceans of dreams. Like rain, I am the cradle to her life. I want to be the poem she reads and then breathe the sounds of her. That's a
Mm.
poem. I'm done. That's more than enough, to move the audience.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So do you
love
do
it.
you do you find that because I find that the way I deliver a poem, I can deliver the same poem, but if I'm in a room full of poets, I deliver it different than I do to a room full of people that I'm just trying to inspire. Do you find yourself doing that, either one of you, or is it just always, we're delivering it the same?
I feel like I find myself delivering the poem where I'm at, where I am
Hmm.
within when I'm on the mic. Like that poem I just said to you guys, I wrote that poem like 10 years ago.
Hmm.
So I didn't deliver it the same way I delivered it when I was, at that time I felt like I was addicted to anger and married to pain for a long time,
Whew.
you know. So when I wrote it, that's what I felt at the time. I don't feel that way now. Now I feel like it's a gift. I got to give it away. It's a gift that was given to me to give it away. And I'm not in that space anymore, but I recognize being in that space. When I wrote it, it was probably, it might have been 15 years ago. I think it was about 15, 20 years ago, but it's pretty old. And it's one of
Wow.
those go-to pieces that I share with other people that might have experienced something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, so,
Well, once I
so
learn a poem,
mhm.
um, you just like reciting that little short thing that I just did. You're gonna get these emotions. That
Hmm.
baritone's gonna be in there. You're gonna feel it. I
Hmm.
want my voice to vibrate through your body. So like when I perform, I picture myself as being in the audience, and I tell myself, he better be good. So because you better be good. Don't come up here with no junk. So everything, even when I'm reading, especially, I mean, I'll pretend to read a poem. I'll have the book or the paper, but I know this poem because one of my things that I teach my students is that I need you to become this poem.
Mhm.
And so when you become the poem, then your inner being, moves me. People say, like, I went to a workshop one time and they said, we need you to use all five of your senses. And I said, well, there goes the problem right there. They only think they got five.
Mhm.
Wow.
Please, let me go home and write this poem. So I went home and wrote this poem. I'm going to use all of my senses, not just the five they mentioned. My 360 coming in dimensions. I'm like, how you think they build the pyramids if they only had five senses? No, something happened. Who was moving them stones? That's because they used everything that they had. So I'm saying that they're 360. My analogy of that is that the earth is 360 degrees. We travel around the sun in 360 days. So why aren't we 360? That's just my thought.
I like that.
I like that too. Yes. So, it took me a minute to realize that people been over here on YouTube, just going off here talking about how awesome it is to listen to everybody, how this poetry is freeing and healing. Um, Henry's on here and he said, what did he say? He said, wait, get famous. You already famous, bro. So just so you know, they're
Oh, thank you.
out here, poet laureates, makers of history. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Henry, for being here and joining us. Yeah, so it is 6:45, and these normally last about an hour. So is it okay with you all if I maybe share a poem or?
Absolutely.
Of course.
All right. Quite frequently, I can be caught and I'm flying to the rings of Saturn, escaping from my classroom walls on a wing and a prayer because there is the only place that I am free. To be the me that expresses words like nothing else matters, not breath, nor beat, not drink or meat. I'm a poet with no time to write poetry, finding beauty in the crazy. I'm a wife, a mother, and a teacher, sometimes life preacher for generations, sometimes clueless. Instead of opening my notebook, I unlock doors that lead to open minds. I have no time to sit and write because I'm trying to right wrongs on how we motivate and educate. I build household systems that mold young minds. I speak, not knowing what will happen. I need more time to be the me that I was created to be so that now I became a thief, started stealing early morning and late night sessions as if there would never be another chance. I laugh, I dance, but most of all, I speak. Like fire on my lips will cease to burn, like my pen is running out of ink. I speak poetry in each testimony, and every now and then I steal away to be free, a poet and a thief. With no opportunity to change destiny, I shake the fear that I cannot change lives with the words that I write and I speak, like time ends after this. Like love stops existing, and I'm pricking the ears of God like last chance for dreams to come true. I never thought like this. I never believed like this, never knew. Like right now, you can feel me pushing you and urging you to be exactly who you are supposed to be. Because I could never be more than a wife, a mother, and a teacher that decided to be a thief and steal away to write poems and set the rest of the world free.
It's beautiful.
Thank you, thank you. Alrighty. So tell me, what kind of things are you doing in your community? I know, Samra, you said you've got a festival coming up in 2025. What else are you doing as a part of being the poet laureate of your city
Well, because
or
poetry
county,
is
rather?
not booming in my city, I'm going to plant seeds. I will be
Mm,
starting at the middle schools and high schools. I may even go lower because I had to get these kids before they get on their cell phones to find the writers who want to write, and not necessarily just poetry, because I have friends in LA who are screenwriters. My son's a
mm,
screenwriter. He's a poet too. So that means I can bring these people up here to get these kids excited about writing. And most importantly, to get them excited about reading, because reading is comprehension, and if you can read and comprehend things, and not that you have to be a poet. So my goal is to do that. I'll be doing a lot of workshops, and some on Zoom, but in-person workshops to give people a chance to discover and free their emotions so that they can become poets. Because in order to you have to free your emotions if you want to be a writer, because we're sharing ourselves with everyone. So when
yes.
someone picks up one of my books, they get the real me. I
Mm-hmm.
don't make up anything. I tell them, they say, how do you write like that? I said, because I believe in what I'm writing, because I
Mm-hmm.
am what I'm writing.
That's right. I love that. I'll say, for me,
Mm-hmm.
okay, June 21st, I just hosted a spoken word facilitated a workshop for Music Day. It was actually the first ever worldwide, and only certain counties, certain states were chosen. I don't know if you guys heard about Music Day. So I got a chance to do a spoken word workshop, which I was very grateful that the Arts Council chose me to do it, because a lot of people don't know that poetry is music. Music is poetry.
Mm-hmm.
Rap means rhythm and poetry. The 16 lines, the 16 bars of a song, 16 lines of a songwriter writes. It's all poetry, it's rhyme verse and lyric verse. And so I got a chance to speak on that, and also pastoral poetry and spoken word, because the first spoken word was the Bible. So
Mm-hmm.
we got a chance to talk about all that, and the news and different people were so enamored by it because they didn't know. And so I noticed that whenever I do my workshops, some people are like, "Oh my God, I didn't know," because I hear people saying, "I don't like poetry." I was like, "Well, you listen to it all the time. It just has
Mm-hmm.
music behind it. It has
Yeah.
sounds." I said, even when you hear poets riding off a beat, because sometimes my band plays for me. But speaking of my band, I have my own um, performance arts based business called Illusions, and
Mm-hmm.
it's called Open Mic. I mean, Illusions Open Mic Night. So I've been doing open mics for 15 years at the Arts Council, and the Arts Council has been extremely supportive of what we do. And the North Carolina Arts Council and also the Arts Council in Kinston, they really supported me. So I do workshops. I've done workshops for Terry Creech. I think you mentioned Terry Creech. For
Yes.
I just did it. Yeah, I did that for them in March for their Youth Poet Laureates, and it was awesome. So yeah, and I've been on tour too, so doing that. But yeah, I do different workshops, and then as the mayor and the community needs me, I go to different places, different churches, and different facilities that need me
What
to
city
come
are
and
you
teach.
in?
I'm in Kinston, North Carolina.
What's that again?
Kinston, North Carolina.
Oh, North Carolina. Okay, so you didn't go to the Charlotte Poetry Fest then?
No, I didn't. I'm actually I'm also an actor. So I was in a movie at that time.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm in 5 films, y'all.
Oh, watch
So
out. Watch out!
Yeah,
I'm still waiting to reshoot my scene for the movie that I'm in. So, but I think that I'm gonna have to fight with the director because he wanted me to change a word, and I'm like, I don't want to do that.
I got you. I'm actually doing poetry and a movie too coming up. It's a major film. So
Yeah, excellent, beautiful.
It's
That
so
yeah,
awesome. I love all of the big things that
August 20th. I'm sorry,
go ahead. You said August what?
August 24th. I'll be on BET Plus for I'm
what?
extra.
That's what I'm talking about.
I
Deadly
love
Intentions. So
Nice,
yeah.
nice.
I love that. Yes, I I do some crazy I've been on a couple of episodes of like Snapped.
Oh, yeah. My homegirl has too. She's a poet, inkstress. She's over there.
Yeah, so I do some extra work every now and then. So
Okay.
every now and then I'll turn on Snapped and catch myself doing something.
I'm on YouTube as well. It's a movie called Lord Do It For Me. I'm a doctor, and that got lines in that one. And
What?
yeah, and what is it? Oh, I'm also on YouTube for a NAMI movie, National Alliance for Mental Health Institute.
Hmm.
It became a training film. It's an actually international training film called IVC. So I'm a nurse with an attitude in that thing, but
Watch
I got
out!
some IVC.
Let's go.
I'm on Tubi too. I'm on
Oh,
Tubi, Crossover the Revenge.
Please, just
Yeah.
blowing up. Yeah.
I
God is good,
love it.
man. I
I'm
can't get
telling you,
it's bigger than me.
yes.
It's bigger than me. All of this is bigger than me. I'm
You
Yeah.
grateful.
know, it is
That's what I
it's
say.
such a
It's definitely bigger than me.
blessing
Yeah. And I'm just
to
a small screw in there, you know.
Yeah. I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody. That's what I got.
oh yes. I love it. It's such an honor to be in a group of such dynamic poets all over the country. Um I had somebody I did a hybrid event for Bruce, who I think was the first poet laureate of like Las Vegas. And he did a hybrid event yesterday, and we got our dates mixed up. He thought I was going to be there. And so I ended up, just doing it virtually. But I had somebody reach out to me on Facebook and was like, how did you get, connected in Las Vegas? We live in Tennessee. And I was like, hey, I'm part of this group of Black Poet Laureates that I don't go to a city and not talk to a poet. I
Right.
I went to Denver and I just put it in the group. I said, "Hey, I'm going to Denver for work. Who do I need to talk to?" And as soon as I was in Denver, I had two Black Poet Laureates that were like, "Hey, what you doing? What do you need us to do? You want me to come get you and take you out to dinner?" It's a network of people that are dynamic, that are changing their cities, that are changing our nation. And I'm just so grateful, for the openness and the amazing people that I've had a chance to meet and connect with via um, via the National Black Poet Laureate Society.
Well, I would tell you that in my city, there are only 6.7% African Americans in my city.
Mm,
And here I am now. I'm the poet laureate, so that there's like that should it's like my audiences right now are, like I said, 90% Caucasian or white
mhm,
or whatever they want to call themselves. To me, you got to be human. I don't go by colors or stuff like that,
mhm.
um, to perform, because I'm a performer as well as just a poet, so I can perform in front of an audience. Uh, and I used to do open mics, and now I'm not doing open mics like I was doing before, because I don't need the what's that word, exposure.
We don't need no
I don't
exposure.
need no exposure because I've been all over the country, from
Mhm.
Seattle to New York, from Virginia to Texas to LA. I've in the middle of the country. I've been everywhere doing poetry, and so I don't need any more exposure, and so that's just it. So when I can get people to buy my books, I was online, and that's how I sold those 47 copies of that book, and people send me $50 just like that, and they had to wait 2 months before I put the book out.
Somebody did ask, is can you drop the book? Let's see. Adia said, can that book be dropped? Samuel Rain. Um,
Well, what do they mean by drop? You know, because that particular limited edition will never be on Amazon.
okay. So Adia, tell us which book you are looking for so that we can get you the information for it. Go ahead and type that in the chat for me,
Yeah,
and we'll make
you
sure that
can
you get it.
Google me, Samuel Rain Benjamin, and see all the books that I have, or they can see
Okay.
all the stuff that I've done, and then they'll see. Well, my thing is not, don't Google me, Amazon me. I love people that Amazon me, you know, so they can Amazon me and they can see all the books that I put out. My last book was Love Is, co-authored by Josh Smalls out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Ja. You gotta love Ja. You said
Yeah.
Samuel Rain
Rain Benjamin, like the rain
Benjamin.
coming down. Yes, Samuel Rain Benjamin. So if you Google that, then you'll see every book that I've written. There are some books that are no longer available, and that was planned. I have copies, but you can't buy them. You know, from Amazon. They show them as being there, but you can't buy them. So I'm going to make them collector's items. So I have a few books that I may sell. I don't have any in front of me right now because this is a new space for me in this office I'm trying to be in. But the book I did a poem the other night at the show, and I said this is how I got men interested in buying my books because I had to attack that audience too, you know, because I wanted to sell to both men and women. Men were not buying my books until I put out this book, and the poem was called Nightcap. And I'll just give you the first line in the poem. It says, she needed a bedtime story. And then my whole concept of that is that you can't give her that unless you have a book to read to her.
So you need my book. I love
Yeah.
it.
Well, you need a book, you know, not just my book, but if you want to read and be romantic, reading is one of the top foreplay moments that you could actually have when you're reading to someone.
Mm, that's true.
And that's the concept of that, you know, because at the end of the poem, I said, she said, turn to page 62. Well, you need a book to do that. So get the book. Get the book.
I love it. I love it. Oh man. Okay. So we got a deal. She's going on Amazon. She's gonna search for you because and get some books. Clavette, where can we support you, find your books, or you performing with your band? What do we need to do so we can spend some time in your energy space?
All right, both of my books are on Amazon. Um, it's called Still Standing by Clavette Roberts, and also Walking in Purpose with a Passion. I added my poetry with it, but also when I'm teaching my different counseling sessions that I do, the nuggets, that inspirational nuggets that I drop, but Walking in Purpose with a Passion has those nuggets in there. It's also a space in there, a journal for them to write
Hmm.
poetry, and I also added my photography in there. So I took some pictures in there, and just kind of and added affirmations in the back because the name of my life coaching business is called Affirmation of Change. So I added affirmations in the back, and then it can also add their own affirmations, and that is on, and that actually is at Walmart as well. So you can find that on Walmart. Um, and Still Standing is at Barnes and Nobles, and I think there are a lot of different places. So
Okay.
yeah, Barnes and Nobles, Walmart, Amazon. If you type in Clavette China Roberts, most people call me China, but I know I'm on Facebook as Clavette Roberts. But yes, my nickname and stage name is China. But if you look up Clavette China Roberts or Clavette Roberts, I want to say what he said about Google me. You'll be able to see a lot of the different things that I do. But also, my shows are at the Arts Council in Kinston, and that's 400 North Queen Street in Kinston. We do it once a month, and I do that to provide us, provide us all with the space, be able to share your gifts, whether it's poetry, singing, river dancing, whatever it is that you do, to have a sweet free space for you to be yourself and enjoy.
I love it.
So we've been doing that. People from all walks of life come out and we have a good time. And we've been doing it for 15 years and counting. And the Arts Council will not let me leave. They said, "Hey," and it's actually opened more doors. And I just got nominated for 4 different awards for
Awesome.
the National Poetry awards. So yes, spoken word
Yes.
female poet of the year. For my venue, for my radio show. I also have my own radio show. Thank you.
Nice.
Called the Lyrical
Yes.
Cipher. Yes, I've had that since this year be 11 years. And we
Wow.
actually get recognized along with other radio shows. Yes, 11 years and counting. We got a little bit over 200,000 listeners and growing um, exponentially. So I'm grateful for that and the support because whenever I had to take a big break when I had surgery last year, and there were so many people that noticed in different countries that
Mm.
noticed I was not on the line, what
Oh,
that were checking
wow.
on me, and they support me ever since. So when I take a little break, they check on me.
That's
And there
good
are times I
stuff.
had to take a break because, like I said, I've been on for 15 years, but I've learned to pace myself, because I'm only human and I have a lot of titles, but I can't do it all at once. So
You're
just
right,
take my
sis.
time and do what I do.
Self
Right.
care.
Yeah. Yes. Indeed.
Well, thank you both so very, very much for a wonderful, wonderful conversation and just really inspiration for me. Um, I have been doing this poetry thing for a while. Alongside because I do love my other job. So I've never just completely stepped away from work because I love education and I'm a math geek. And if I don't get to solve problems, I don't feel like I'm doing anything. So, I absolutely love teaching math, and so I've done this alongside being a math instructor for, good Lord, 15 years, and I've been doing spoken word for a little over 20.
Wow.
And just it's always wonderful to be able to meet and be touched by other authors and poets and inspired to continue on the journey because that's what I see with you all is that um, you never stopped, right? You kept going and you pushed, and I am very sure that there were days where there was only five to ten people there, and it could be discouraging. The the path that we take as artists can be discouraging, and I am encouraged by your continued push in that direction. So thank you
Thank
so very much. Thank you for your service, and thank you for
Thank
what you
you.
do
thank
for us around the country.
you.
um let's see, do I have a book as well? Yes, I do. I have 6 books. I was about to say 5. I have 6 books. All of them can be found on Amazon. And the last one is it's called After the Black, and it's a visual poem. So
Mm.
it's only one poem in the book, but it has visuals to go along with it. And it's just ask people to look beyond that initial glance, whatever black may be for you. It's not necessarily talking about your race. It's just whatever a black is for you to learn to look past it. And so that's what that's about. It is being used in classrooms all over South Carolina
Nice.
and Tennessee to help students start those conversations and to look at how we are visualizing one another when we first meet one, head on. So, all right. Well, thank you. Thank you. I cannot wait to do this again. You all have, like I said, you blessed me very, very much. I will be back next month in August for First Sunday with Black Poet Laureates. I would absolutely love it, Clavette and Samuel, if you guys would stay on for just a second.